Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. This is our last release of 2020, and as such, we're doing a great big Beer of the Year wrap up. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori,
Hello.
and we are two beer loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. Well, here we are. We're
That's
getting
it.
into the last bits of 2020, and we want 2020 to get in the bin.
I'm chucking it in the bin. We're going onwards and upwards into
I've always wanted to say that as
2021.
well. I've always wanted
It's
to say
been
that, get in the bin.
get in the bin. It's been a dumpster fire of a
Mm,
year. Obviously for hospitality, for breweries, for
particularly, yeah,
everybody. It's
it
just
has
been
been
it's
tough.
been awful. So I think none of us are gonna miss 2020 per
Mm-mm,
se.
don't think so.
So but we couldn't let it pass without kind of giving a final sign off and best and worst and everything in between of 2020 before we do so. So I think we're going to do a casual drink and chat for this one.
Yes.
And we'll just go through some of our tops, our bottoms, our favorite breweries, all that stuff. We'll do our Untappd stats. That'll be fun. That'll
That's always
be fun,
exciting.
fun, fun. And then what have you got before we go with what we've already opened that we'll start with, which we're both really excited about. So excited we couldn't wait to hit
Yeah.
record to start drinking. But what did you get to drink for this episode and why?
Right. So I have got here, people who are watching, I have got a swing top bottle here with a handwritten label on it. I've got Cloudwater's One Slice to Yule Them All Imperial Xmas Cake Stout that my friend Sarah Marie got me as a draft pour from one of our favourite beer bars in Whitstable. So it needs drinking today.
That's gonna
Supporting
be a
local.
fun. That's gonna be a fun
I
one,
know.
isn't it? Of you
11%.
chugging that. Yeah, that's gonna be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I didn't go with anything that quite so intense. I got the Amateur Pink Farts and Unicorns, which
I love
is
that
a
name.
dry hopped India Pale Lager.
Cool.
So I chose this one pretty much because the name and the can. I thought if I'm gonna the can art, if you're watching the video, it's a unicorn that just, I don't know, looks
It's got
disturbed
like,
somehow.
yeah, it's got like crazy
Clouds of
rainbow hair and a
pink.
purple shiny horn, and it's
Yeah,
coming through the
and
clouds, and it looks like it might have
I
been
think
doing
they're
some drugs.
probably pink fart clouds is what it's going through.
Right,
So
right, that makes
I
sense.
picked that because the name was fun and it was just pretty bold. But I have a backup one for if I finish before you have finished yours, and that's just the revisit of the S43 Brew York collab of the pumpkin spice latte stout, and it will kind
Nice.
of maybe make a bit more sense because I got it to complement what we're drinking at the moment. Joanne, what are we drinking at the moment?
So we have cracked open my homebrew of Pumpkin Rescue, which was a pumpkin double recipe using rescued pumpkin and surplus bread that Toast Ales put out. And I was like, oh, that looks like a fun homebrew recipe. I want to brew with surplus bread. So I gave it a go, and here is the result.
And they gave you a shout out, didn't
They
they were
did,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, she's brewing our beer
Yeah,
recipe,
they put
amazing."
they shared it on their Instagram page. Yes, so that was quite exciting. Thank you very much, Toast.
You were kind enough as well to give me the label
Yes.
separately, not taped on, so I didn't have to. I'm showing it on the video if you're watching it, so I didn't have to.
My little home
Um,
photoshopped labels.
yeah, but that means I can save it without having to rip it off and risk ruining it because I'm obviously going to save that.
I'm happy with it.
I'm Yeah, so this is we were saying before we hit the record button as we were too excited taking a sip. It's what we both know as a US type pumpkin beer.
Yeah.
Like that's what a US pumpkin ale tends to taste like is like this. And yeah, I'm very pleased. I have put some of it back in the fridge to share with my husband. I don't really want to share it with him, but instead of giving him the full half on his own, I might just be like, well, let's share 50-50 of what's left because it's
I
so
can send
good.
you more. I can send you. I've got a couple more. I only got
So
6
good.
bottles out of this one. But
So
yeah,
good.
it's caramelly It's
Yes.
pumpkiny, it's spicy. I'm very happy with how it came out. And it's got some really lovely streaming carbonation bubbles, which I don't always see in my home brewing. So I'm very happy with it.
It's a nice, like,
7.2%.
it's got that nice dark
Yeah.
orange
It's like
color
an
to it.
orangey brown
Yeah.
hazed
But that's when you
colour.
say brown, it
I
kind of
know. It's
probably
like,
doesn't sound nice, but
no,
it looks nice. Like, it doesn't look like murky pond water.
no.
It doesn't look like turn it up to 11. It looks like when you
Brings
hold
us
it up to the
to
light.
something later.
Yeah, that'll bring us to something later. It looks,
It's like
when you hold it up
golden.
to light, like a
Yeah.
orange. It looks kind of like hazy when you hold it up
Yeah.
to the light and you're looking back from below. But yeah, I am loving it. So let's sip on this. And I think I started off going, let's do top 5, and then you did a top 9. So I did top 9, and then it was hard for me to knock off one of the top 10 that I had, so I just turned it into a top 10.
That's
so
fine.
Top 10 beers. How should we do it? Do you want to go one for one? How do we want to do it?
Are we doing them in actual number order? Have you got them in actual number order?
Absolutely not. I put my least favorites in actual number order because that was easy for me. This one, it's in no particular order. I just list the top 10 that I liked.
That's fine. Yeah, we can do one for one. You want to go first?
Yeah, okay. So my first one, I did cheat because I had to go back through my Untappd and kind of look, because there's so many that I've had this year, which we'll get into when we do our stats, that I was like, I don't even remember some of my favorites. I only remember the most recent. So my first one that I came across that was definitely in my top of this year was the Northern Monk and Aunt Bessie's Jam Roly Poly, which was a jam and custard pale. I expected to not like it. I expected it to be a bit of a gimmick. I expected it was going to be just like, oh, look, we've done this cross promotion with Aunt Bessie's and it was going to be all right, but nothing, nothing standout-ish. But it really tasted like a jam roly-poly. It was very creamy. I really got the custard in it and I absolutely loved it. My only regret with it was that I didn't buy more of it. I was so sad because by the time I got it, it was at a point where it was already hard to get hands on. And that's actually what introduced me to a hoppy place, which is the Bottle Shop in Windsor. Because I think that was the first order I placed with them, because I basically hunted this one down to them, realized I had a bottle shop near me and just ordered a whole bunch of stuff. So it was great for 2 reasons in that one. So.
I enjoyed that one as well. I really liked the Sunday dinner one as well, which was a brown ale. That was really lovely for a brown ale.
Couldn't get my hands on that one.
Yeah, I managed to get the set from Northern Monk. It was delicious. It's not in my top 10, but it was very good. And brown ales, like, I love a brown ale, and it's actually like, people need to make more brown ales basically, because brown ales are great.
Well, yeah, I was making a again, this is the part where we've already veered off, but I was making a beef stew today, crock pot, in my crock pot.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed a brown ale for it, but I didn't have one, so I had to use a red ale. I had to use Elusive's Level Up red ale, because I was like, I don't it's the closest thing I've got that could be comparable to use in this recipe, so I'll just go with that. Or it was a stout, and I didn't want to waste any of my proper stouts, because everything I have is like pastry stout, and I thought that might be a bit like,
that's not gonna work.
Yeah, or I've only got one of them and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. But yeah, no. So what's your name your first one?
My first one is Neo Normal from Siren.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's probably one of the only, I think it is the only pale beer in my top 10.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, being a stouts and stuff. Oh, that's a lie, actually. There's another pale one. But mostly these are sours and stouts. And I particularly enjoyed that one because it had Talus in it, and it was the experience of trying that hop for the first time and getting the really interesting components of that in that beer. It was really interesting. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was really cool just getting the chance to be like, well, there's only 8 breweries in the UK that have got their hands on it, and let's try it. And we got to try it pretty much, even though the episode didn't come out right away after we tried it. We did try it pretty much, I think, less than a week after I got it home from the tap room when it came out. So it was a good one. It's not on my top list, but it was really good. But I've got a million Siren on my list, probably, maybe, I won't say, but yeah. So speaking of, my second one was I wonder if you can guess, and I'm repping today my Siren hoodie and my Caribbean chocolate cake
Oh, look at that.
t-shirt, because it's a bit chilly, is Siren and the Green Cheek collaboration, the Every Second Matters West Coast IPA. So that one's the second variant that came out, because it was Every Minute Matters first, which was also excellent, but Every Second Matters I found was just even better. And it was just such a phenomenal way to showcase a West Coast IPA that I was like, yeah, that's in my top list. It's interesting that I've put that one and I've not put the other one in my top list, but I was trying to be fair and not just like put the same stuff, because I kind
It's
of think
difficult.
that counts for both of them a bit. It was
really
really
hard.
difficult. Yeah, I did. I put 2 honorable mentions at the bottom of mine, which I'll mention before we move on, because I was like, they don't really fit on my list, but they were so good that I thought about them immediately. But yeah, what's your number 2 then?
So my number 2 is Arcade City from Overworks. So this was a sour version of their Stout Tokyo Star. And the souring process made it just like a Flanders red ale. So it had the lovely sweet but sour balsamic vinegar notes to it. And I've put it in here because it was the first beer this year, maybe ever, that I've bought a second one of, because I thought it was really good. I'm usually a one and done. Yeah, that was really good. I'm going to move on to something else. And this year I found myself buying a few things where I've been like, do you know what? That was really good. I'm going to buy it again. And so that was the first one that I did that with, and it was delicious. And I've got another one in the cupboard.
Nice. I've not tried it at all. I didn't. This is the first I've actually really properly heard about it, because I've not seen people. It's not something that I think people post about, but I think that might be just kind of I don't see the amount of love for Overworks that perhaps it deserves. When you speak to people one-on-one, a lot of people enjoy Overworks, but when it comes to the posting habits in the forums, you don't see Overworks nearly as much as it gets talked about off those forums. So
and I think it's because
that's the first,
because it's Brewdog. I don't
because
think
it's got
people
Brewdog
want to talk
attached
about it. Yeah.
No.
Although to be fair, some of their stuff this year has been it needs to rest a little bit. Let's say that.
Yeah, probably with a bit more chill time.
Yeah, so I've got quite a few that are in the fridge, and I'm just leaving them there for a little bit, because I'm like, I'm thinking you might need to mellow a little bit, and then you'll be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some kinks to be worked out, but this one was at the beginning of the year and it was quite delicious.
Yeah, that's I'll have to, if I ever get the opportunity to try it, I'll definitely give that one a try, because I've not had it at all. But it's funny you should say that one made your list, because it's the first one you bought again. The next one that I have in my list, if you had to hazard a guess of which one would be in my list based on that theme, what do you think it would be?
Is it Affogato by Siren?
It is absolutely Affogato by Siren, which, if anybody watched our ice cream pails, we had it. It's a coffee and ice cream pale ale. I think unanimously we both voted it number 1 out of all the ice cream pails we had. And this one made my list strictly because I bought as many. I mean, I was every time I'd go back to the tap yard and I'd walk by the fridges, I was like, well, if I just get one more, I'll just get one more. And then there were 2 left at the end that were on final offer. And I was like, they're so sad. I can't leave them there alone. I have to take them home with me. So I did. And yeah, I love an affogato in general. And this one was absolutely phenomenal. So it made my list strictly because I could drink it over and over and over again and be very happy with that. So what is next on your list?
Well, that's on my list as well.
Is it the next one on your list?
It's the only other pale on the list. And it was coffee ice cream, and I love a bit of coffee, so
we said
absolutely
it was
loved it.
Crystallized. It had the coffee crystal, like it's been in the fridge of the freezer. It's like you've just taken it out, you've just sort of gotten yourself a scoop of it, and it was properly a scoop of ice cream with coffee ice cream, wasn't it? Yeah, I love that we both were like, I was like, we're getting this. You have to try it. And you're like, yeah, I'll try it. And then you're like, oh my God. I said, I tried it the first time, went, what is this witchcraft? And then you tried it. And you're like, did they do that? Like, let me see the ingredients. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's madness. It was a really good beer. Very well executed. I think it might be the only one that we share.
Yeah, I think it's the
on
only
our
one.
list. And
I'm
I
gonna
think
guess it's the only one we've shared.
Yeah. And I think when we get to the end of this, there's a real diverse range of breweries and beers that we like between us. So I think that's really interesting as well.
Yeah, and I think the thing is like, you'll probably name a whole bunch that I will be like, yeah, I really like that, or I've had something similar and I really like that. But when it comes to, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, I like a lot of different stuff, but I do tend to like the hoppier stuff, whereas you like the darker stouts and all that, which I like. And I've got some on my list, but I think you might really like something, but it just doesn't make your top 10. And I find it very difficult to do top ranking lists anyways, because I enjoy everything so much. And you go, I really love this. And then the new one comes out and you go, oh, but I really like that.
Yeah.
And you forget how much you really like something in comparison when you haven't had it for a while. So I'm glad that we shared at least one though. And I'm glad that if we were going to share any of them, that's the one that we shared.
Yeah.
Right. Is it on to me now? Is
Yes.
it my go? Right. Okay. My next one is Hamilton's Dia de los Muertos, and it's a Mexican cake stout. And I found it to be incredible. I don't know if you've had it. Ooh, it's got like the best almond notes.
Ooh.
It's really, I mean, almond usually gets kind of just lost in there. You've got to be really good to get it to stick out. And this was properly, it was really nice. I'll put it that way. I got it as part of a drink along that Dave at a hoppy place sort of did the box for. And when I got the box and I saw that, I love a good bit of can art. My wedding was, you know, Day of the Dead themed loosely, all the colors and the sugar skulls and everything. So I was so excited to get that label. And I can't recommend it enough, especially, I mean, you like stout, so I think you should at least try it.
I think I need to drink more of Hamilton stouts next year, because I have only had Crunch and Crunchier.
I've not had mine yet.
I like Crunchier more than Crunch. Controversial, because not everyone says that. Yeah,
we'll have to get into that separately. Well, let me have it, and then we can have a dialogue, an unplanned dialogue about it. Totally out of the blue dialogue. Yeah. What's your next one?
So my next one, speaking of peanut butter in beers, is Clusters from Neon Raptor.
Hey,
I enjoyed that one from Collab Fest so much. It was really delicious. Just like the thickness of it and the nuttiness of it. It was more than peanut butter. It was crunchy nut cornflakes in a stout.
Yeah, which that's really that's when we discovered I'd never had crunchy nut cornflakes or whatever it is. And you were like, you have to try them. I tried to get my hands on one. Yeah. But they were all sold. The can of the clusters that they had released directly had all sold out, because I wanted to get it and then get the crunchy nuts and try them together and go, oh, does this taste like? But couldn't get my hands on it.
Oh, sad times.
Right, my next one, and I know there's quite a few people that I've spoken to that have felt the same way about this one, is Pomona Island 1952 Vincent Black Lightning, which is a double IPA. And I just can't put into words why it's in my top. If you've had it, you can probably figure out why it's in my top if you like a good dipper. It was so creamy. It had that sherbet type taste to it. It was just so moreish and so lush. It didn't have like a harsh alcohol taste for a higher ABV. Like it was really good, really moreish. And I've always found Pomona to do really good hoppy beers and really good sour beers and really good hoppy and sour beers. So no regrets on that one. If you like hoppy beers and smooth creamy beers and you can get one of these, definitely get one.
Nice. I've only, controversial, I'm being controversial again, I've only had one Pomona Island beer ever.
They do stouts now though, so you've got
I have to start getting into their stouts and sours, because I'm not that into the hoppy beers, but if they're doing sours and stouts, they might win me over.
You do. You've got to get. I mean, a lot of their sours do tend to have like that hoppiness to it as well, because it will be like a sour element with like it'll be like a sour IPA type deal where you're going to get the hoppiness with it. But they're very well made. I think I find that they're very well made. So even if you're not a hoppy person, it's just because you're not a hoppy person, you know.
Yeah.
But try their stouts and tell me what you think of their stouts, because I've not had any of their stouts yet.
On the list for next year.
Brilliant.
So my next one is Valkyrie Vendetta from Overworks again. So they did a small batch series, and this one I believe was hazelnut and cherry.
Oh right.
And just putting like those two together in a sour beer, it was really lovely. And again, I bought more of it. That's how good it was. And that's in the cupboard for me as well, because it just gave it like you had that nuttiness from the hazelnut, and then the cherry came through. And cherry's quite a difficult flavour sometimes to get to come through properly. So yeah, that was really delicious.
Yeah, because it can kind of, like, it's there, but it can kind of taste, sometimes I find that they can taste a bit more synthetic than other fruits do. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just to get that type of flavor in, it ends up tasting more synthetic. I don't know, but yeah, when you get a good one, it's really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot.
Next on my list, again for the third time on this list, is Siren. That's going to be their Nitro Caribbean chocolate cake. I found it to be very good. So full transparency, when they first started making Nitro beer, we did the Twin Flames the mini episode we did. We both preferred the classic. We thought the Nitro was fine, but it didn't really hold a candle to the classic version. And I think what that was they were just starting to use Nitro. And then I think that was the first one they had done Nitro. And since then, they've only done a handful more. So I think they've just been slowly perfecting it more and more. And Nitro, out of all of them, suits this style so good. And it was like drinking a hot chocolate, like a cold-ish hot chocolate. It was, yeah. And I think because it was 330ml as well, it's just the right size where you're like, I can have that. It's not too rich. It's not too filling. Obviously with the cacao nibs, there would be normally a bit of sweetness, but it was actually more fudgy and creamier, kind of a bit dark chocolate without the bitterness to it. And it was really good. I would have said the Caribbean white chocolate cake was on the top of my list, but that was not brewed this year. I just drank it this year because that was phenomenal. But instead, this year's favorite for the CCCs is definitely the Nitro. If you've not tried it, I'll get you a can and I'll send it to you. Because
I have the full set. I just haven't drunk them yet.
Yeah. You've got to tell me which one you like the most when you have them, and you have to give me your honest feedback on this one, because I found that I've had all of them but the barrel aged, and this one's, they're all good, but this one's my favorite.
Okay, when I have them, I'll let you know. I'm waiting for the perfect time to drink them, because I kind of want to do at least some of them all at once to compare them to one another. So that's going to be a day.
Well, that's it. Is I happened to do it because they had the tasting.
Yeah.
So I had them when I was doing the tasting, but I was very fortunate that it was my birthday present from my husband. So he got me 2 of each, with the exception of the barrel age, because they had sold out of the single cans of barrel age, and he didn't want to buy 2 of the packs because you can only get 1, I think. So I've tried them all without thinking, because I knew I'd have an extra one to go with.
Nice. Very good planning. Well done.
I know, it's only because I sort of thought, I was like, if you're not going to order them, I am. So commit to it. Or if you don't want that responsibility, if it's too much, that I appreciate that, I'll get it myself. And he was like, I've got it. And he got really irritated at me. But he did it in the end.
I don't understand the need for these beers.
He was going to do a fake out on me as well. But he was going to tell me he didn't get them. So he got me this the hoodie instead. And he was like, then obviously you opened them up in the wrong order. And I was like,
rude. No,
so rude.
I don't like it. No, don't do that. Right, so my next one is Massive Piranhas from Neon Raptor. So that's two Neon Raptors, 2 Overworks, 2 Sirens. I will go into other people. So last year when I was doing my top 10, my top 9, I tried not to have any double ups of breweries, but I think I did end up with a double of Neon Raptor. But which is a surprise because I wouldn't say they're one of my top breweries, but
No.
the beers I have had from them are just excellent. But this year I was just like, you know what, I am going to have doubles up because I think I've tried less of a range of breweries because I've not been going to bars and just buying what's on the board. I've been selecting things myself, and so I've gone, oh, I want this, I want this brewery, I want this brewery.
Yeah. And the way that we've been ordering, where we've said, oh, we're going to go from a brewery and you might go from one brewery and get a few extras and I'll get a few extras and I'll swap them and all that. It's when you're going direct to a brewery, unless they have a really good guest section online, which some do and some don't. Like Boutiliers has a really, really great guest section.
Yeah.
Elusive has a great guest section. It's not on their website.
Yeah.
So I go down there and I can pick out some really good guest beers, but if I'm ordering from them, my options are their beers. So it's that thing of you end up getting more from a single brewery to make the shipping worthwhile, which means you're trying less of a sort of variation of one brewery. But it's I totally appreciate that.
Yeah, it's been a very different year for
how
we've drunk beer.
That's an understatement of the century.
So Massive Piranhas is a Lassie Goes, and it was blackcurrant, red currant, and raspberry, I believe. Just this thick
milkshake
bread, massive pink blancmange head. It was just fruity and sharp and tart and salty, like just the right balance of salty at the end to cut through that sweetness. It was delicious and it just looked amazing.
It was not milkshake, it was smoothie. That's the word I was looking for. It was like a smoothie. Fruit smoothie. And I had that as well. And again, that was really, really good. It wasn't quite enough to break my top, but I know a lot of people that was their top favorite. And Helen sent that to me as like an early birthday treat, and I was so excited to try it. And a lot of people said they couldn't get the salt out of it. They were like, really? Oh, I don't think it was a goes because there wasn't really a lot of salt. And I was like, I got the salt and it was perfect. Like to me, it was a perfect execution of what they were going for, because it came in right at the right time and it just was so well balanced, like you said.
But I think the thing with a goes as well is that it doesn't need to be salty in your face at the end. It's just that mineral salt element at the end to cut through what else is going on in the beer. So,
and it was needed in that because it was so thick and so fruity that you just needed that to get a bit more depth. If it was just straight fruit, it would have been good, but I don't think it would have that level of depth that it has when you add that salt to it.
Absolutely. And that's very good. Snuck into my top 10 at the last second because it was in my advent calendar.
Think of all the beers that we've not tried yet. Like I've got all these Christmas beers that we've talked about.
We've still got a couple of weeks.
I've been holding on to them, and it's we still have about a week and a bit to go. Yeah. And we might be on a tier 4 situation. I've not even looked before joining this call. So I could have a lot more drinking to do over the next few weeks. Right. I don't know. So who knows what will change between now and when this actually comes out on the end of the year.
And this is why we're saying that 2020 can get in that bin.
Get in the bin. Go back to the dumpster fire came from.
Anyway, your next beer.
Back to mine. Positive vibes, guys. Positive vibes. I've got the Dea and Verdant collaboration High Plains Drifter, which was again a double IPA. It was just really good. That's kind of all I can say about it. It's just really good. And I know Dea and Verdant have sort of, or Verdant, however you want to say it, I say Verdant. I know that they've done collabs sort of since that as well, but this one was one of the first Deas that I had, one of the first Verdants I think I've had, and it was really, really, really good. So I'll just leave it at that because I can't really describe it any better than that.
Fab. Again, controversial. I think I've only had 2 Deas and I've only had a couple of Verdants.
To be fair, Dea don't really do like they do stouts, but they don't really do stouts.
I had an export stout from Verdant, and I was like, yes, right.
I don't think that's where they shine, though.
No.
I mean, they might do really good ones.
Like they're breweries that a lot of people like because that's the style that they like, and it's not a style that I personally enjoy. I'm not a dipper fan.
No. But I've got like, so I've had the stout that Day did. That was sort of the Frank Turner stout. I don't even remember what it was called.
You saying about
it. But I bought it because it was a Frank Turner one. But it was just a very classic stout, like no frills, just straight up traditional classic stout.
Yeah.
And it was really good. But obviously, when you're used to having all these different, pastry stouts, this, that, and the other thing, it doesn't stand out as much to me and my taste buds, but it was very well executed and it tasted really good. But again, Daya have so many hoppy beers that I really enjoy that I just don't think the stouts are where they shine. And it's probably the true about Verdant as well, to be fair.
And that's fine, because I think they're doing all right on what they make. They got plenty of fans.
It would be good to see them kind of take a turn and try to do more variation of stouts, but I don't know if they've got that.
I have an opinion about this, and actually I had a conversation about this with Drew from Bootiliers, because at the beginning of the year, when we were allowed out and we were allowed to bars, there was a Meet the Brewer for Bootiliers at a bar called the Tap Room in Ashford, and we went along to that, and they had a Bootiliers tap takeover. We were trying different beers. Drew was wandering around with then unreleased Bad for Education, and if you were drinking Bootiliers beers, he was giving people samples of that, and he was like, this is our new big stout that's coming out. And we sat down and we had a conversation, and he was like, do you know what, we could try to do these dipper bangers that people want. He's like, but that's not where we shine.
Yeah.
We shine in these interesting stouts and the other styles of beers, and that's what we're really good at, and that's what is making us stand out to people. So that's what we're going to continue to make. And it's the same with other breweries. Like, you're not going to get Vault City making a dipper, a traditional dipper.
No.
Because that's not what they do. That's not their brand. It's not what they're amazing at. And that's fine, because there are other people we can go by that are amazing at various different things.
Exactly. But I think it's also kind of like, I could see Vault City doing, barrel aged stouts, for example, because they do barrel aged sours. So for them, that's not, obviously it's a totally different style. But I think there's that same barrel aging element that they have the knowledge of, that they could then use to kind of start doing something a little bit more diverse than what they're doing. And I agree with that. If that's not where they shine, that's not where they shine. I think for me, it's always interesting, though, to see those breweries that have that thing that they are so good at take a step, diversify a little bit, and go, let me actually try something that's out of my element. Obviously, if it's something that they don't feel is good to release, or they don't think that's something that they're capable of continuing to release, totally get that. But I think it would be interesting to see some of these breweries branch out a little bit more, just to see what they are capable of, to see what the creativity they'd have and bring to a different style would be. So I can kind of see both sides of the fence there, I think.
Yeah. And, brewers know best. So the brewers are going to make the beer decisions. They're going to make the good beer. So we're going to trust the brewers.
We're going to trust them. Exactly. At the end of the day, we'll trust whatever they say anyways. Your next one.
My next one.
Sidetracked.
Speaking of Vault City, is Raspberry Skies from Vault City.
Ooh.
Raspberry sour, creamy vanilla in there as well. I could have just drunk, I sipped on it, and yes, all right. I like everything raspberry.
I was going to say it's raspberry, isn't it? So obviously it was going to make it to your list.
There's a lot of raspberry in this list, but it was like I could have drunk another bottle of it. Like,
I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to guess right now. You've got Stout Pout on that list somewhere.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it because of raspberry. You said
is my thing.
raspberry.
Do you know what? We're just going to go. My next one is Stout Pout from Stuart Brewing, which was a raspberry stout from Collabfest. And it was delicious. And it's going to make me like, it was the
was good.
beautiful balance
It was
of
good.
chocolatey malt and tart sweet raspberry, like Scottish raspberries. And it's made me want to go and look out some more stuff from Stuart because it was delicious.
Yeah, no, I agree because I've had stuff from Stuart, but I think only kind of the supermarket level stuff, and it's not been bad, but it's not been mind-blowing. But after trying that, it was like, okay, maybe need to give them a bit more time than what they're being given at the moment. Back to the Vault City one, I know that they were re-releasing the Strawberry Skies. And apparently that's very similar with the creaminess and stuff. And they were re-releasing that for Christmas. They very rarely re-release beers, but this was so popular that they decided to do a rebrew. And I'm gutted because I didn't get one. And I love strawberry. So I'm like, to me, I like raspberry, but I love strawberry. So I was like, I want that so bad.
No, I'm raspberry over strawberry every day. I had Strawberry Skies. That was my first Vault City beer at this time last year, around Christmas time, and I was just like, this brewery is very interesting. I will be drinking more of theirs next year. And I did.
And you did.
And I did. And they were great.
I've still not tried any of mine because I've bought the bottles. I got the pumpkin one and I've got
that one's good.
the pina colada one.
I haven't had that one.
And I got a few others, and basically I got the apple maple pecan because I was like desperate to have that. But I've not opened any of them. I've literally, so I have a cupboard in the kitchen where I keep my barrel aged bottles and the bottles that will sort of last a bit longer. I keep them in there instead of with my other beers. And I was just saving them for Christmas really, because I was like, I want, or New Year's, because I was like, I want them for a time when it's going to be a bit more special than just like, I'm having a session, let me open up a Vault City. Like it just doesn't feel special enough, because I think we don't see too many things coming in bottles anymore, and bottles of that size as well. So it feels more special, and it's like, I can't just warrant opening it up for no reason. It has to feel like it's the right occasion. So hopefully I'll get some of them cracked open before the end of this year.
Oh, they are delicious.
I've been dying to have them.
Vault City a lot.
They were on my top list of breweries to purchase from that I hadn't tried before, but now they're off that list because I've purchased from them. So I'm excited to try them now.
Right, you need to do 2 to catch up because
Okay, so first one is Brew York Hey You Giles, which is their peanut caramel and marshmallow milk stout. Just really effing phenomenal. It was, I mean, I had it before they had to do the rebrand for obvious reasons. I probably shouldn't even call it Hey You Giles. I should call it HYG, because I think that's what it's rebranded to as now. I want a new can because I want the 2 cans next to each other.
I've got the new can in the fridge. I've not had it yet.
Did you have the old one?
No, I've not had the old one.
Because I'm quite curious to know how if it's quite literally the same exact recipe, no changes. Is it the same, or is it just a case there to change the label and the name, or have they made any tweaks to it? But if it tastes like the first one, you're gonna love it. It was incredible. I really liked it, and I liked the artwork on it. It was fun. And as a fan of this particular film that we can't talk about because of cease and desists, it was a really cool can art, and the redesign they did was very clever. It was great. So that's one of them. And then my next one, which you're not gonna like, is Barrier Brewing, and it was Headlines, and that was a triple IPA, and it was so smooth, and you didn't taste it didn't taste nearly as high ABV as it was. I don't even remember what the ABV was, but it was quite high, and you didn't taste it. It was smooth, and it was full of mouthfeels. It was great. Not for you.
Not for me.
But it was really good.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
So my next one is
the last one.
No, I've got 2 more.
Oh, do you have 2 more?
Yeah,
okay.
I've got 2 more. So I've got the coffee and bramble sour from Vault City. That was just a lovely balance of roasty coffee, sweet tart, blackberry, bramble, fruits. Yeah, that one was delicious.
I saw that one, and it sounded quite interesting.
Yeah.
And it was just the coffee with the bramble and it being the sour element to it. I'm very intrigued by it. But I've got the pumpkin, is it
Blueberry pumpkin
blueberry
spice.
pumpkin spice that I'm like, that doesn't seem like it should work for a sour. So I'm interested to see how it's going to work.
So I had that on the other day and it is lovely. But when I read blueberry pumpkin spice latte, I'm expecting blueberry, I'm expecting pumpkin, I'm expecting spice. And latte says to me that there should be a bit of creamy coffee in it.
Coffee.
There is no pumpkin in it. There is no coffee in it.
Well,
It's
is there
blueberry and
cinnamon?
spice. Yeah, it's blueberry and like cinnamon and ginger.
Well, I
Which
guess
is
it's because
fine
the
it's pumpkin
pumpkin
spice.
spice, not pumpkin and spice.
And
It's
on the
pumpkin
label, it
spice.
says there's no pumpkin in this. We went for
Yeah.
the pumpkin spiced.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Fair. It was nice. But I think if they'd have also experimented with a touch of creamy coffee in there, it could have been really interesting.
Well, that's it. If you say latte, you're gonna expect there's gonna be coffee. So that's I'm interested to see what I'm gonna think of it. But it's those elements of the coffee and the fruit and the sour that I think are quite. It's a bit playful and it could go either way. It could be, in my opinion, really terrible, or it could be really good. It's really good. It's a gamble, isn't it?
It was really good. And I'm a sucker for coffee as well, coffee flavored things. So it was a given that when I saw that, I was like, having that. And it was delicious.
Well, that's it. Love coffee, love beer. And today when I did my siren pickup, I got a barrel aged coffee. Nice. So I'm really excited to try that, because I was like, oh my God, coffee and beer basically sort of kind of together. What's this going to taste like? Definitely getting a bag of that.
Nice.
So. My last one is Hamilton. It's the Collab Fest beer, Mr. Scoops, which was a caramel chocolate and butterscotch sundae inspired stout. It was, my feeling on ice cream pails. I feel like ice cream stouts takes it to a higher level, probably because it's typically fuller mouthfeels, more complex, sort of deeper flavors, I think, than maybe pails have.
Yeah.
Because you can get that sort of fuller, rich taste from the stout. So I really liked it. And I was really like gutted that you didn't get it in your box.
No,
so I was like,
I'm really sad. So good. I didn't get that one. It's the one that delicious.
I was going to just have a third up, because like the whole last of them, just to get rid of them, I was like, I'll just have the third and then I'll just bin the rest of them off, because they're going to go off anyways. I might as well just make my way through as many as possible. And this one, I was like, no, I can't bring myself to bin this one. And I drank it all. I was like, I don't care that it's a weeknight and that it's like a higher ABV. I'm having it. It was so good. I'm really excited to try. I've got the other Hamilton Sunday one.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how that's going to be.
Nice.
So I've got my ice cream stouts that I'm going to line up and do them all in one go and see how it works out.
So my final one, I couldn't have a top 10 of beers without having my boys, Boutilliers, in there. And my favourite beer of theirs this year was One Winged Angel, which was a raspberry brown stout. Stouts, raspberry, Boutilliers. What am I not going to like about that?
And I like
absolutely nothing.
I was moving glasses around as you said, like, my boys Boutilliers, and I really hope it picked up on the audio because it made like the clinking noise. So it sounded like the heavens just opened up for Boutilliers. You're like, my boys Boutilliers, and then it went cling cling.
Yeah, I had to have one of theirs in there.
They're really good. Like, I genuinely, I think we've talked about them so many times about how much we really like them. But it's like personality wise, really like them. Their beer's really good, really like them. I did my beer nativity scene, and you told me, you were like, they've shared your photo, and I was like, yes.
I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I was like, I recognise that picture. That's not Tori's feed. Oh, look.
Yeah, so anybody that's listening that doesn't follow me on Instagram, I was trying to enter this photo competition that I've definitely not won, because the same person's gonna win because he's amazing at photo contests. And he's
dressed up as the Grinch.
Like
fully dressed like makeup, like the full face, like
the full everything,
prosthetics, if I can get the word out. all of that.
I think it was a mask, but
beating
it's
that.
like the best looking mask I've ever seen. And he's surrounded by beers and he's got the Christmas lights perfectly like photo taken and shining. And it was like amazing. And then I was like, oh, I need to try to do something that's at least like, all right. And then I was like, oh, make a nativity scene. And I happened to have like 3 different Boutilliers bottles that had like animals on them. So I was like, you'll be the 3 wise men. There you go. So I shared that and Boutillier shared it. And I was like,
Yay.
I'm so pleased. And they were like, we love your work. I was like, thank you. Somebody likes it.
You've won in our hearts, if
thank
not
you.
in the competition.
Even though Andrew's going to win again in our group's photo contest because he's amazing and he deserves it because he takes amazing photos. I'm just jealous because I can't even start to take. I don't have that level of commitment in me to do that.
Yeah, it's true.
And the supply of costumes that boy's got.
Yeah, he's got a trunk somewhere.
It's amazing.
All right, so that's all the good beers. Now we're gonna go on to our least favorite beers. Only top 5
and not
for these.
all. Yeah, to be fair, that was probably the longest bit. A, because we diverted, and B, because there was 10 of them for each of us, whereas we've narrowed it down for the other ones. And while we do that, I'm gonna open up my amateur.
I'll do that.
I'm ready for my next beer. Just going to give this a pour. I love double dry hop beers, so I'm really excited about this.
Oh, she's excited. So should we just go through our top 5 off that? I'm going to do my
so this you go first 5. While I sample mine.
Right, so I have put these ones in order.
I do as well.
So 5, I'm going to go from 5 to 5 being not as bad as the others, 1 being the worst beer. And this is nothing against the brewers. I'm sure there are people out there that really enjoyed these beers, but they were not for me. Yeah. So number 5 was Snowblind by Totally Brewed, which made me really sad because I've had other Totally Brewed beers and they were really delicious. Like I had Papa Jangles Plum while I was up in when we did a trip to Nottingham, and it was delicious. I've had Tijuana Build a Snowman, which was a Mexican.
I like the name.
Yeah, which was a Mexican goes. Delicious. So Snowblind was supposed to be a white chocolate white stout, which I was excited about because I was like, that sounds amazing. And it was citrusy and refreshing and lovely, but there was no white chocolate in it. There's a bit of Tonka. So I was like, it wasn't as white stouty and white chocolatey as I liked. So I appreciated the yeah, it was like okay, but otherwise Totally Brewed usually make excellent beers, so that one just made me a little bit sad.
Never had anything from them before. Are they the ones beers. Are they the same ones that have also done the reusing bread, or is that another one that I'm thinking of?
Don't know.
I think that's another one that I'm thinking of that's got a similar name to that because it's something brewed, but yeah, no.
So try some of theirs because some of theirs are really good, but don't try Snowblind.
Try it, but don't try that one.
Don't try that one. My next one was Marja, which was a collaboration between Hair of the Dog and Omnipollo, and it was a barley wine.
Oh.
Yeah. So
sorry, that just came out.
That's fine. Barley wines. So I find barley wines are really hit. I
struggle.
With me. Yeah, I struggle with barley wines. Sometimes they're absolutely amazing. Sometimes not so much.
It's just not to my taste. I can't like it.
I was excited to try this one because it was Omnipollo, and then I have had other beers from Hair of the Dog, who are an American brewery, only because my friend's boyfriend went over to America and brought them back for her, and she was like, I don't know anything about beer. He wants me to drink these and tell him what I think. Will you come round and drink these with me? So we know what they are. And
you have to feed her lines like it's very hoppy. And then she's like, it's very hoppy. I like it.
No, so it wasn't even that. They're like, they do really weird barley wine, interesting concept beers, right? So
yeah, got you.
And I was like, I've never heard of this brewery before. Let's see what they are. And there was one that was a cherry beer, and I was really excited about.
Right.
And we went on Untappd and read some of the reviews to try and work out what it was before we drank it. And there were descriptions of how it tasted like old leather and tobacco. And we were like,
Oh,
okay.
that tastes
And
like your
then,
grandpa or
right,
something like that. Oh.
and then we drank it and it tasted like our granddad's. So like, and I was like, oh, so we didn't drink much of those. So then I was like, well, I wonder if this, because it's with Omnipollo, will do something with it. And it didn't.
We'll do something. I like the way you've tried to like,
like
no.
do something. No, it was just, there was just a massive alcohol burn, which I'm not a fan of. And
my question is though, who was the main? So like, obviously, when they collaborate, it's
Hair
like
of
you're
the
brewing
dog.
out of somebody else's thing. And I always kind of wonder, it would be really interesting to speak to somebody that has that experience of doing the collaborations, like somebody from a brewery or something, to understand sort of when you're doing a collaboration, how much is the guest, for lack of a better way of describing it, the guest brewery, e.g. the one that they're not brewing out of, how much input do they have? Do they come up with the recipe together, or do they just kind of go, I can give you some ingredients? Or
well, I've seen it in various ways where they come up with they collaboratively come up with the recipe. One brewery will donate bits of ingredients to another. They'll brew it at one particular place. Like Boutiliers have done collaborations with big breweries and sent them the fruit tea to go in it, because that's their signature thing that they do. So yeah, it depends on what outcome they want.
Yeah, if you're a brewery, if you made it this far and you've brewed as a collaboration with anybody, adventures_in_optimism on Instagram. I genuinely want to know how it works, because I'm very intrigued by that whole thing of the levels that you can get involved in each other. But yeah, that made me curious when you said it was a collaboration. You expected Omnipollo to bring more.
I thought they would change it up a little bit, but I think it was more hair of the dog. But it was huge alcohol burn, cloying, and a bit like cough mixture.
Oh,
not a fan. I'm sure there are people out there that would really enjoy it, but those are not elements that I enjoy in a beer. So
it'll be your cup of tea, doesn't it?
Not my cup of tea.
No pun intended, Materials.
Number 3 was Jam Session Raspberry Goes by Big Drop. So this was a non-alcoholic beer, and I was like, oh, a non-alcoholic goes. I'm really excited about this, and it's raspberry non-alcoholic goes. Where could we go wrong? It tastes like vinegar.
Say, how can you go wrong? Like that feels like that's an easy I don't have any brewing experience, so for me it sounds like when you're doing like a fruit sour, a fruit that's naturally a bit tart anyways, you kind of think, oh, you're going to do a goes with it, and it's not even going to be alcoholic, so surely that should be a automatic win. So that's interesting that they got vinegar out of it.
Well, and when you looked at the ingredients, they had put malt vinegar in it, because obviously the sour elements come from the fermentation caused by the fruit and the bacteria and the wild yeasts and things like that, and so they had put malt vinegar in it. And I was like, that's why it tastes like vinegar. I was not a fan.
I'm not a big vinegar fan in general. Like when people here get chips and they put vinegar on it.
See, I love vinegar on chips. I love a bit of balsamic vinegar flavors, but this was not.
I like it on like salad dressing.
Okay.
But that's kind of where I draw my line. After that, I'm like not a big fan of it. But
no, it was not what I wanted, unfortunately. Number 2, Wake Up and Smell the Goes by Evil Twin and Brewdog. I was very disappointed. It sounded very, very promising as breakfast goes. It tasted like Lucozade. I'm not a fan of Lucozade. I found it upsetting.
I'm going to come in with a controversial opinion and say I actually liked it.
That's fine. It was not what I wanted. It.
But a lot of people, I found that I was in the minority when it came to that. And that's what I think. There's some beers that you can go, maybe that was a bad beer, or maybe something was off about it, or you know, something. This, I don't think there was anything off about it. I think it was just a very niche taste that you're either going to like or not like.
I think my expectations for it were not met. Like when they said it was a blueberry breakfast goes, I wanted something like a Bianca. Obviously not to the level of a Bianca, but that's
yeah.
the kind of thing I was going for, and that's not the flavors that I got. And I was like,
No, I'll admit that I don't think it didn't taste the way that I expected it to
Yeah.
taste, but I personally didn't dislike it. But then sort of the caveat on that is I didn't drink that by myself. I split that can. So I found it to be quite rich, and I thought half of that, the 220 mils was more than enough, and it was enjoyable. Had I drank that whole can like a lot of other people who didn't like it did, I might have turned around and gone, it was too much. I couldn't get on with it. It was just, I think there were overpowering tastes in it. Like the maple, I think, was a bit overpowering.
Yeah.
You didn't get enough blueberry. But it was, to me, it was interesting. It was a bit unique. So I enjoyed it, but I don't think you were alone in not liking it.
No,
I know
and
so many people that didn't.
Yeah, no, I just didn't like it. That one was not for me.
Mm.
And my number one on my least favorite beers
Was it going to be?
I'm a Beer Morty from Hand Brew Co. Cucumber, orange Szechuan pepper needs to get out of my beer.
I am so
Nothing to it.
excited. I am so excited to say my top 5. This one's not in it, but I do remember us going through and being like, we're sorry, Hand Brew Co. It's just not for us.
I'm sure they're a great brewery, but
I tried them again, but the thing is, they nailed it. Like we said it, they nailed the pickle
they
flavor.
delivered.
That's the problem.
They delivered what they said they were going to deliver.
And that was the problem.
This is a beer with cucumber and Szechuan pepper in it. Great. I don't want those flavors in my beer. It's not a beer that I would have picked because I know I don't like those flavors.
I actually picked it.
You picked it. I got it in my Clubfest mix. So I was just like, oh, well, I'll try it. Yeah, no, not for me.
I went all the way to Brewdog to get
and bought it extra. Nonsense.
Without knowing, but I should and this is what I'm most angry at myself about, is I should have known, because like what else would a Rick and Morty,
it's gonna be a pickle beer,
especially one called I'm a Beer Morty, like
right.
What was it gonna be? It was obviously only ever gonna be a pickle beer,
right?
And the Szechuan, that was a nice touch. Didn't like it, but it was a nice personalized touch.
Yeah, sorry, Hand Brew Co. I'll make an effort to try and buy some of your beers next year. So that
you're obviously great with your flavors. Yeah. You're great with your flavors.
Yeah, you're clever at getting the flavor that you say in your beers. Just that's not flavors that I wanted.
It's not for us. No.
Right.
So that was your top 5 least favorites.
Yes.
So I've done mine. I've done mine in order. So I'll start with the number 5 and then I'll work my way up the same way you did. But first, I want to say my honorable mentions for the top ones.
Oh, yes.
Because I didn't say them. The first one doesn't count because it was brewed last year, but I only drank it very early this year. And it was from a US brewery in New England called Night Shift. And they made a beer that was a sour Berliner Weiss called Sweet Nectar.
Ooh.
And it was it was a peach and strawberry Berliner Weiss. And they tried to get the elements of like a peach cobbler and a strawberry shortcake. And there was lots of lactose in it. And it was amazing. The can art was like so simple, but just gorgeous. And I loved it. I wish I could have it all the time. And then the other one doesn't count because it's a cider. So I didn't count that, but it was Sucker for Pumpkins.
Yes.
And it was Hock's cider because I had it at the Hock's tap room.
Yeah.
It was amazing. If they bottled it, I would have had every bottle I could get my hands on.
Yeah, I had that last year and it was quite delicious.
It was amazing. They get the
and I'm not a cider. I'm not a cider person, but that was really lovely.
That was it. I was like, I don't know if it's going to be too acidic. And it no, it was perfect. It was beautiful. I wish they bottled it. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Fabulous.
So my number 5 least favorite was London Beer Factory's MDMA. It was, I want to say it was probably like a double IPA or something. I don't even remember. I didn't even jot it down because I really didn't like it. I had it at the tap room in London. A bunch of us did. None of us liked it. We thought it was BS.
So
I didn't like it.
I think the thing with London Beer Co is I've from the ones of theirs that I've had, I just find them a bit hit and miss. Like,
yeah,
I
agree.
Absolutely adore Zia, the tiramisu stout you can get in Tesco's. That is amazing. Like it's everything you want from pastry stout. It's thick and sweet, and it's got those coffee, cream, tiramisu flavors in it. It is beautiful. But then I've had the what is it, the cranberry and orange sour
The
one.
summer
Yeah,
solstice.
and I just found that really, really acidic.
It makes a
Um,
lovely beer cocktail. You can make a lovely
I
Cosmo
have got
with it.
one to try
It's
and make a
great.
beer cocktail with because I was like, oh, maybe that'll take the edge off of it because it'll have
I've done
that
it.
acidity to it.
It's lovely like that.
But as a beer, I was not a fan of it. So I think they're just a bit hit and miss with their
I
beers.
I agree with you. So like going to the tap room, we did like flight boards,
Yeah.
and there was none that I thought were just okay. It was either really not for me, really didn't enjoy it, or yeah, this is brilliant. Like there was very few that I kind of went, oh, I'd have it again. It's all right, but I don't love
Yeah.
it. I agree with you, totally hit and miss. I think I would even argue the majority for me personally are a miss. And I find that there's certain ones that I find that I go, oh, I'm pleasantly surprised by that because I'm expecting it to not be that great. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people like is it called Big Milk? It's the milk stout that's in
Okay.
Tesco. I didn't like
See,
that. It was too
no.
bittersweet for me. I
Oh
couldn't get
well,
on with it.
I had that. I hear that they've changed the recipe since I had it, but I found it incredibly thin and fizzy.
Mm.
And I'm like, a milk stout, I want to be thick and creamy, and it
Well,
wasn't.
that's it. It was quite thin.
Yeah.
It was not massively fizzy, but it was fizzy and it was too bittersweet. I wanted to be creamier and milkier, and it just
Yeah.
wasn't. So
It's a milk
I didn't
stout.
like it. Yeah, I
That's
just
what
didn't
you're
like it.
after. No,
Yeah.
not for
Okay.
me.
My number 4, which is why I was laughing at your hand brew co, is Wild Weather's Damn Dead Cucumber. And I mentioned it to you, I think, when we had the
Yeah.
hand brew co, I was like, for some reason, my stupid, idiotic brain didn't piece together the fact that a sour cucumber was a pickle. This thing, I cannot fault Wild Weather. I've said it before and I'll say it many, many more times. Cannot fault them because their flavor was spot on what it's supposed to be. It tasted like pickle juice. And I couldn't have more than 2 sips. It was revolted because I was like, I hate pickles. So I was
Yeah.
like, and I gave it to my husband. I was like, here you go. You can just have it. And he's like, yeah, it's proper pickle juice, isn't it? I was like, yeah, you could put that in a jar, tell me it's pickle juice, and I would believe it because they were so spot on with it. It was, yeah. I'm sorry, Wild Weather. I really like them. They're local to me. I enjoy their stuff. It's too
Not that
real.
one. Not that
Too
one.
real. It was awful. So that's that one. My number 3 was Wild Beer Co. Sourdough.
I've not
It
had
was
that one. Wait, I'm going to
very,
look.
yeah, see if you've had it. For me, I found it to be very like vinegary. I genuinely had to go back and check if I had accidentally, like if they started branching out and doing sourdough starters. It was vinegary and but it
Oh,
wasn't like, it wasn't sour in the way
yeah.
that you go, oh, it's sour. It was just very vinegary. Like I
Oh.
thought I'm supposed to mix this. I bet it would be phenomenal to make bread with, sourdough bread. But I thought I was drinking a sourdough starter mixer or something like that. I
Oh,
had to
that's
check it was
sad.
actually meant to be drank on its own.
Oh, because I love Wild Weather. I've got my new not Wild Weather, Wild Beer Co. I've got my
Wild
new
Beer Co.
Wild Beer Co. t-shirt on because they're one of my faves.
Oh,
I've not had that one. That makes me sad.
the problem is like they do some really great beers, and I think they can get quite experimental. They
Yeah.
like to play around with flavors, and I think it's quite interesting what they do. And there's a lot of stuff, again, like you said at the beginning, it's no offense to these breweries because it's not something that's stopping us from continuing to drink them. It's not anything that you shouldn't try yourself to see if it's right for you. But for me, it was just, I'm sure somebody that likes that very niche style would enjoy it, but for me,
I'm going to try it.
it was
If
bad.
they've still got some,
I
I'm gonna
drain
try
poured it.
Oh, no.
Literally, neither of us, we had 2 sips each, and we were like, I can't, it's gotta go. It was too, and we very rarely drain pour. It's only if we can't force ourselves to drink something, and it was just too much for us, I think. My number 2, which I think will be controversial because I know some people absolutely love it, is Omnipolo Elvis.
Which one's that one?
It's the one that's the peanut butter, banana, bacon.
Right.
It was very malty. It was malt heavy.
Right.
It tasted like vomit to me.
Oh.
The flavors all together, it didn't mix well for me. I know some people really enjoyed the mix of it. I don't think I got enough of any flavor in particular. I think I just got them smooshed together.
Yeah.
And they don't mix well.
No, and I think
for me,
I think there were a few experimental Omnipollo ones where you're just like, nah, you didn't you didn't need to put those flavors together. You know, the Bianca range is pretty phenomenal. I wasn't a fan of, what was it, Space Cookie, where it was like,
I want the pumpkin one. They've done a pumpkin one.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, but it's I can't find it to get my hands on it.
So there's one that was
it's like, an import only.
Candy floss, pina colada, blah, 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 like all these things mixed together. And I was like, there is no need to mix all of those things together. And I ended up with one just to try it, and I was like, nope.
But that's it. So I think that every release, they're like, what can we do to take up another notch?
See what we can throw in there. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think every time a new one comes out now, it's difficult to know if they're playing around because they want to see if they can create something really good, or if they're just trying to A, shock people with what they're putting together, and B, finding the most random stuff they can put together just to be like, oh, this one will be talked about because it's weird. Like, it's almost like they want to get that the buzzwords all in there so people go weird. Like, that's crazy. And sometimes it just feels like, oh, that's a step too far. Which I'm all about creativity, play around, do whatever, but they just seem to try to up the ante every single beer. This one, I know a lot of people liked it. I know a lot of people thought it melded very well, the flavors. I just thought it tasted like vomit. So speaking of vomit tasting beers, my number one is Tiny Rebel, Turn It Up to 11. I maintain that beer is not oxidized. It's not about, so I tried to keep off anything that was alcohol free or anything that I knew had gone wrong. Like, there was a Brew York I had that it tasted chemically. I didn't include that on the list because I don't think it's fair, because I think that genuinely went wrong. This, I think, went wrong because it didn't turn out how they intended. I think it's a bad beer. Yeah. I don't think it's like a bottling problem, a canning problem or anything. It was just a bad beer. And I think they doubled down and they refused to admit it. Yeah. And I'm not going to get heated up again, but it tastes like vomit and I'm sticking by that. And I think whoever thinks that was to their taste buds has to have, I don't know, type 2 diabetes. I don't know. It's very sweet. It was too much.
I decided not to buy it and I was really glad. I kept out of that one. Quite glad that I did.
For me, it was too sweet. I don't believe it was made to anybody's taste, and I just think it tasted like vomit. And I maintain it, and I stick by what I've said, that it's just a bad beer.
Pictures of it look like pond water as well.
It was like pond water, but it was red on the eye because color is a spectrum. So according to them, color is a spectrum.
Yeah, but pond water is not a desirable color in a beer.
Well, you don't put, at least if color is a spectrum, don't put it's red on the eye. Just put color is a spectrum, could be any numerous color. I don't know. It was crap. I didn't like it.
No.
Not to say that there were people that genuinely liked it. Yeah. There was a handful of people that genuinely liked it. And if it's to their taste, that's great. Yeah. For me, I was just like, this feels like it doesn't taste how they described it. And it doesn't look how they described it themselves. Therefore, I can't believe that that's how they meant it to be.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, passionate. That's passionate.
Let's go on to something a little bit nicer.
Yes.
Top 5
Get
breweries.
Get the bad stuff out of the way.
Top 5 breweries, or 5 breweries that we want to try next year in 2021. Yes. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I've got Dig Brew Co. Really, it's because I think they look cool. Like, if I'm quite honest with you, it's just because they look cool. So I like the wax seal at the top. So that's definitely, and I hear they're really phenomenal. So I really want to try those. Fallen Acorn. I've wanted to try them for quite a while, but every time they sort of release beers, it comes out after I've already bulk bought so many beers that I'm poor. But since they've released Pie Hard, I'm like, yeah, next paycheck, that is going to be my first paycheck, post paycheck purchase is going to be Pie Hard because I just want it so bad. Third one's Malt Garden because I've heard really, really great things about them. I don't think they're based in the UK, so I think that's going to become a bit more difficult to get post Brexit. So gonna try to get some of that sooner rather than later. I had Cantillon sort of on the list and I took it off, but I think that's going to be another one I want strictly because I think it's going to become more difficult and even more expensive to get. And it's quite highly sought after as well. So that was my sort of bonus. I want to try Wander Beyond because their artwork's amazing.
Oh, have
And
you
Don
not had
Zoka,
Wander Beyond?
never had Wander Beyond.
Oh, they are good.
Never had it, but I really like their artwork and they seem like they've got quite interesting beers as well. So that's on the list. And then Don Zoco, really just because it's like fun to say. So I don't have a really good reason for that one.
That's
It's
brilliant.
just I've just seen it come up before and I'm like, Don Zoco, like that's fun. So that's my top five.
So Don Zoco are on my list as well. So mine, not necessarily breweries that I've not had anything from before. Some of them are. But some of them are because I've had like one or two and I've enjoyed them. I'm like, you know what? I think I need to have some more of those. So Don Zoco's on that list. I had one of theirs from the Club Fest box and it was really delicious. And I think so Don Zoco, I've also got Utopian on here. I've only had one of theirs and Bray Brook Brewing Co. are also on this list. They all do lager beers. And so I think I've not had a lot of those because I generally shy away from that style because I'm like, oh, it's not my favourite style. I'm not going to say I don't like lagers because we all know that's a lie. But they don't make my favourite style. So I've not bought them, but I'd like to branch out into theirs and just expand my knowledge of UK-based lager brewers. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think with Utopian, I think I said a minute ago that I it's almost made my top five, but then didn't. And I think what's happened is there's been quite a few times where I've almost tacked it onto an order. The way I do my purchasing online is I'll sort of put everything I want in the basket and then I realize I spent way too much money. So I try to do like a culling and I have
130 quid. And even though you're getting the free shipping, that's still too much.
Go look at Joe's Tiki Tokis because she's posted the new Tiki Toki that she posted the other day is my favorite Tiki Toki. Absolutely love it. And that's me when I'm doing my beer purchasing. I'm not going to tell you what it is because you just have to go watch it if you want to see it. But I basically put it all in my basket and then I have to do the painstaking. It's like picking your favorite child. You've got to be like, which one do I want? And that one always, I think because it's lager and it's my least favorite.
Like, I'm going to pick a sour over the top of it. Like, yeah, that is the thing. And I think Braybrook, I've not seen many places. So,
I've not even heard of it.
Yeah, so I think you'd have to shop directly from them, maybe.
Where are they located?
Good question.
Sorry.
Have a look.
Just on your research, Joe.
I'm on the. Well, I just put them on the list because I thought they sounded interesting. Oh, they're near.
You didn't expect me to ask a follow-up question.
I did not. They're near Market Harborough.
I don't know where that is.
It's in the English countryside. But they've done some interesting lager beers that I've seen.
I was just thinking, like, could we do like a drop in and just pick them up? But I don't know how far away it would be for me to get to do a pickup.
But yeah, they're on my list to try because they look interesting. I want to try some more Brew by Numbers. I think I've had at least one of theirs. But I have not managed to get my hands on some of their fruit gozes that look absolutely gorgeous. Yeah,
you'll really like them.
So I really want to get some more of those. Also, I'd like to try Dig. They're a bit hype beer at the beginning of the year, and I didn't manage to get any.
We got two the same.
Yeah, we're just going to be sending each other beers. That's
it. What we're doing right now is we're building up the list of things that we're going to go out and buy, and we just know that the other person wants it. I think I already told you I'll get you a pie hard last night. I told you I'd get you a pie hard.
We'll just do a swapsy. It's fine. Yeah. And that's how we keep the basket.
This is how we keep the podcast going.
And then when it comes through the door, we're just like, that's for the podcast, husband. It's not just for me, it's for the podcast.
Yeah, it's for the podcast.
It's for the business.
Like, no judgment.
Expenses. And then my last one is
You need to receipt them, Joe.
I'm going to start doing it. Don't even joke. And my last one is Play Brew Co. I want to try that one that looks like it's a drumstick beer.
Again, it's the one that Play Brew Co. is always the one that kind of, I see them and I'm like, I really want them, but I've never hunted it. Always the one that I want. I wanted the ice cream one, I wanted the waffle one, and I wanted the birthday one. But I didn't want them enough to go direct to them to buy it. But then I didn't, again, they're ones I put in the basket. And when it came down to it, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And this hype one that I really want, that takes precedence. So I think we need to put, I think we know what we have to do. We have to put in an order with Play Brew Co. And try
because I don't think I've seen them in the places where I'm buying a mix box.
Yeah, me
so
either.
They've not ended up in my basket.
Or I've seen the ones that I'm not as interested in, and so I'm kind of like, oh, if I'm gonna get one, I don't want this one to be my first one.
And I did go and look on their website, and I considered buying a pack and just sending you a set, but there was, I think it was 4 in the set, and 3 were interested, and 1 was a pale, and I was like, oh, I don't want that one. No. But you couldn't get singles, so
yeah, that's the pain. Yeah, keep an eye out.
See 2021. Next year. Yeah. Right. So next subject that we've thought about for this wrap up episode is top places we want to visit if we're ever allowed out of our houses.
If we're ever allowed out. In the break, we had a breaking news that we're both now in tier 4. So Christmas is cancelled for both of us, and we're never leaving our house again. And we're just going to become day drinking beings that just start drinking at breakfast now. So that's what's going to happen. Great. We're excited.
So if we're ever allowed out of our houses ever again, I really want to visit Duration in Norfolk. I did their they've done a number of virtual tours around the brewery because they only put it together this year. They're in a renovated barn, and it didn't come together as quickly as they wanted because there was endangered bats in the rafters.
Oh,
and so they had to have like conservationists come out and work it all out and like preserve the bats and whatnot to get it all done. And they've done that. They have a brilliant sustainable business. They're trying to use ingredients that are local, so it's like farm to table type jobs. They're really brilliant, and they are hoping to open a tap room on site. So I really want to go visit them at some point.
That's it. I think we mentioned them on our sustainability episode because they're one of those breweries that don't shout loud enough about their sustainable like when you go and look for it, you can see it on their website, but they're not sort of the same as Brewdog, who are like, we do sustainability. You have to kind of look for it on their website.
Well, I think they are talking about it more now, but I don't think their voice is as loud. as Brewdog or Toast or someone like that. You know, they're just kind of quietly getting on with it and being amazing in the background.
I just knew, obviously I knew of them before we did the sustainability episode, but I didn't know about the sustainable practices until I physically went to do the research on sustainable breweries. And that's when I was like, I wish that more people knew that they were so sustainable. So it's maybe they're getting a bit better at it now, but I remember being like, there's a tab here, but if I didn't know to look for it, if I was just doing a shop for beer, I would have never have even seen it. They're very good beer, so
yeah, they're brilliant. Miranda and Bates are great, so I want to go and visit them, please, when I'm allowed out of the house.
That's fair.
I also would like to do, if it ever happens again, the Wild Beer Co. Cheese Festival, Beer and Cheese Festival, because on their site they have their stuff, and then Westcombe Dairy is there as well, making cheese literally next door. And so they have a joint beer and cheese festival, and we got their beer and cheese box this year because they couldn't do it face to face. They sent it out. Happened to coincide with our wedding anniversary, so it was delightful. We did this lovely
double event.
So we did this lovely beer and cheese pairing, and they put on like a virtual version of it, and it was great. I would love to go and do that in person whenever I'm allowed out of the house again.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think I'd love that. My problem is, I think Siren did one as well. They did a beer and cheese pairing. The only reason I didn't do it is because I'm not one for blue cheeses and
I love blue cheese.
I'm very particular about my soft cheeses. I'm more like hard cheese
Okay.
person. And it was such a mix that I was like, I'll only eat about 50% of this. And I didn't want to waste it. So I was like, I'll just buy some exotic cheeses and
See if it
the
had
ones
been,
I like. But if it's in person, I could go, I don't want that one. I want that one. And I wouldn't feel like I'm wasting a block of cheese because I love cheese. It's just I'm very picky about the cheeses I like.
Yeah, so I just can't have goat's milk because I'm allergic to goat's milk. So goat's cheese, though it's delicious, makes me ill. Otherwise, give me that cheese and I'll try it. Gordon
I'm
is
definitely like cheddar person. I'm like
Gordon's
anything that's like a cheddar.
Gordon's a cheddar person, but there's in the Wild Beer Co one, there was a mature cheddar, a smoked cheese, a red Leicester, and a Caerphilly. I wasn't too fond of the Caerphilly, but the other ones were lovely. And we got it because there was actually cheeses that Gordon, and I think there was a blue, and I had that. But yeah, there was cheeses in there that Gordon would eat as well. It was really delicious.
That's it. That sounds like the majority of stuff. Like I'd have a red Leicester, I'd have all that stuff.
That's what Gordon has.
I think more people need to have this cross collaboration, the synergy, where they go, here's a food box and here's the beer box, and let's do these like food beer pairing collaborations to suit you in your house. Like, I would love to see more of that. That's something I want to see more of in 2021 is, more
food.
cross collaborations with food, because I like food, I love food, and I love beer, and I want them both, and I want to be able to have them in my pajamas. So
yay,
please, breweries, more beer and food in 2021 in my house.
Yeah, lovely, love it.
Anywhere else you want to go, or is that on your list?
I mean, I'd like to go back to Belgium. I'd like to go back to the Delirium Cafe where they've got a catalogue of 2,000 beers.
I didn't get to go to that. I wanted to go to it so bad, and brilliant. I never got a chance to go to it.
So I've been there. I'd like to do that again. I would actually like to go up to York and do Trembling Madness Bar and Brew York Bar and just go and do all the great bars that are in York. I think that'd be a great road trip.
I've got Leeds and York. So on my list of places I want to go, I've got Leeds/York pub crawl. So I want to do like long weekend, some time in Leeds, some time in York. I think it's probably already going to happen because obviously our mate Helen lives in Leeds, and I'm like, we're just like counting down the days until we can see each other in person and go drink in person in our mate Donna's in York, and we're like, we just need to do like an epic crawl through Leeds and York. And I think after this dumpster fire every year and after this tier 4 Christmas, we are 100% going to do the most epic long weekend pub crawl of our lives. I think we'll just train it from one place to another place as soon as we can and go to all those places. So that's on my list as well.
Oh, I tell you, like my last one, I would like to go to Wild Weather's tap room. That was on my list of places to go this year, and I didn't get to go in Reading.
You can come visit.
Yeah, I can come visit you and go to Wild Weather's tap room. That's what I want to do.
Yes, that's it. And then I'll come visit you, and then we can go right to Butilias.
Yeah, and we'll do. We'll have to wait until Generation Craft happens, and then you can come down to Generation Craft.
You come to me. I'll take you to Wild Weather, and we can go to all the other tap rooms in the area while we're in Reading. We can go to Phantom. We can go to all those places, and then I'll come to you for the beer festival. That's over that way in Kent.
Yep. Yay.
So we both shared Leeds and York. You had some brilliant places that I haven't had a chance to go to myself. My list. So we've gone to Tokyo. Well, we've gone to Japan twice now, and we were looking at going to Japan for a third time because we love it there. And I don't know if we'll get to go next year, but maybe 2022. On my top list of places I want to go is Omnipolo. More recently, just opened up a tap room in Tokyo. I've gone to the Hitachino Brewing Nest in Tokyo, and it's just like the craft beer scene in Tokyo is so. They're just so attention to detail on everything, and everything's crafted and just meticulously done. So I want to know what this Omnipolo tap room is going to be like. You can get Omnipolo at I think it's Costco. They're Costco.
What?
Or no, they're IKEA. That's what it is. They're IKEA sells Omnipolo.
That's
I'm like,
hilarious.
this is BS. We need
Yeah.
IKEAs that sell Omnipolo. So I'm really excited to get back to Japan in general and to eat amazing food and to go to the Omnipolo tap room in Tokyo. That's on my list of things amongst many other tap rooms and breweries in Japan. That's really what I want to get back and do. Also on my list is I really want to go to Elusive's tap room. Obviously they're my local,
So
and
close. You're
I
so
pick
close.
stuff
You've
up
just
from
not
them.
been able to go
Exactly.
there.
I pick stuff up
Just
from them all the time,
there.
but by the time I realized they were there, the tap room was already
Ugh.
shut. And they are everything I love, like video games. They're so nice. Andy and his partner, they're so sweet. They are so nice people. I
I'm
saw them
jumping
today.
in. I'm jumping in because you know what? Boutilia's opened their tap room just before Christmas. Then we were going to go. So Women's Pint Club, my beer group that we have here, we were going to go for our first birthday to their tap room in Ashford, and it was closed because of licensing issues. So we ended up going. I know, so we couldn't go, and then we just didn't get to go to the tap room. Like I've popped in and bought beers from the shop that's part of the tap room, but I've not sat in and actually spent time in their tap room. Exactly the same. Like it's literally just there, and I have not been able to get in there and sit and drink there. So that's on my list as well. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I think
terrible times.
I've been to Sirens, obviously.
Yeah.
And I guess it's different because like sitting outside at Siren, they don't have, it's just a different experience in general, I think, because with Elusive, you have like the games consoles that are there, and it's just definitely a smaller, more intimate space, which is the exact reason they couldn't continue to have people indoors when they were having people indoors, because I don't think they could socially distance. But I mean, they're just such lovely people. And like I said, I went down there today and I got some beers from them because I wanted to get some beers before Christmas and just support them as much as I could, because they're just so nice. And I can't wait for it to open back up so I can actually drink in their tap room, play their video games and just enjoy, and that will make me a happy bunny and I'll be very, very happy. So that was on my list. It's funny that I've put it on my list because they are so local to me, but I was like, that's really important to me, is because they're my local, because they're so lovely. I just want to be able to get in and support them even more by drinking there. So yeah, that's there. And then my last one that I've got is I was meant to be, we were actually planning at some point, weren't we, to record while I was in the US. Yeah. And I was going to bring back all these beers with me, and we'd have like another whole special episode where you picked out some stuff that I might think is weird. I'd bring you back the weirdest stuff that I could find in the US. And it would be good, or I'd record from the US and we'd sort of do it that way. That didn't happen. Obviously, I'm still in my same room and it's, less than a week before Christmas. It was for the best decision for everybody's safety. Yeah. Myself, my family, I couldn't risk getting over there and getting a negative or positive test and not being able to get on a plane back, for example. And my dog's here. So it's just, is what it is. But I can't wait. I've got a flight rebooked for March, assuming I can go over in March, which is probably cutting it close. I've got to go to Aruba for a friend's wedding, so we're stopping there on the way back, because really where I want to go is I want to go back to those places that I really love over there, the small independent tap rooms and the new ones that have popped up that I haven't got a chance to go to. Like I even want to make the drive out to Treehouse and, go to Trillium myself, because I've never actually been to Trillium. I even want to go to Sam Adams because I've never been to, like, you were like, that's the one I did my first brewery tour at.
First ever brewery tour. You've never
literally lived like 20-minute drive away, and I've never been to it.
I'm going to give you a list of merch that I want.
Yeah, I need to bring myself back one of the actual Boston Lager glasses, because that's like number one on my list. I need one of those, the bulgy ones. I don't know what you'd call them.
They are
You covered them in your glassware video, didn't you?
They are in my glassware video. Go back and watch the video, because I explain about it. Because it was a 2-year process between the Sam Adams Boston brewery and a glass maker, and they specifically designed this glass to be the best glass to drink their beers out of. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really
love
want to
it.
go to, I really want to go to Sam Adams, just because it's like I've never gone there, and it just seems ridiculous at this point that I've never gone there.
Yeah,
And
it
just,
does.
I really want to do a pub crawl of all the local breweries nearby to me. I spoke to my sister last night, and we sort of planned it out. We were like, if we can't go out when I'm there and I can still go in March, what we'll do is we'll just go around and buy a beer or two from multiple beers that we want to try from all these different tap rooms, and we'll just do a pub crawl in the house. But I just miss drinking their beers. They were one of Night Shift, who I mentioned earlier. They released something that was like an ice cream beer as well, and I was like, I should be there drinking that right now.
So sad.
So yeah, that's me done. Right, do we want to quickly have a squiz of our
let's have a look.
Untappd?
Untappd stats year in beer 2020.
This is definitely going to be like a super long episode.
Yeah.
But it's our end of the year episode.
Yeah.
That's why it's super long. So much to review.
Yeah. So my stats have changed since I took a picture the other day. I should checked in some more beers. So I
haven't checked in beers I had last night. So this is mine. It's not going to be as accurate because I didn't check in last night's beers.
Yeah, there's some I haven't checked in, so it's not completely up to date. But I have tried. I'm slacking, by the way. I have tried a total of 582 unique beers this year. Last year, I think I tried 665. So I am slacking.
So
the average,
so my total.
Yep, tell us your total.
I was going to say my total of unique beers is 465.
That's good going. Right, so an average Untappd user tries around 49 beers. Blew them out of the water.
I did appreciate that when I saw 49. That. I was like, oh, that's brilliant.
These people.
What was your most checked in one?
So I've got 3 that are 2 check-ins, because actually I don't, if I've already tried it, I don't really check it in. Unless there's a particular reason. But my top with 2 check-ins this year is Doki Doki by Bootilius.
Doki Doki. What's really funny is your multiple check-ins is Bootilius.
Yeah. And they are
most checked in.
Oh yeah, you're most checked in. Is it
Siren? Every second matters with 3 check-ins. Yay, Siren and Bootilius.
Yay. So top breweries, I've tasted beers from 214 different breweries this year.
Oh, that's quite good going,
isn't it?
That's good going.
I didn't think I'd tried that many different ones, but apparently I have. My top 3, I'm really happy with my top 3 breweries. So my top brewery with 28 beer check-ins was Bootilius. Of course. Yay! Of course.
Just guess mine.
Was it Siren? Was it Siren by any chance?
Absolutely.
My second highest check-in with 24 beers was Wild Beer Co., which I'm not surprised about because I bought quite a few of their tasting boxes throughout the year with their virtual tastings because they were really excellent. And then my next top one with another 24 beers was Overworks, which I'm quite surprised about because I didn't think I'd drunk that many Overworks beers this year, and apparently I have.
I'm not that surprised because you've got you even managed to get the Overworks glass, and I didn't get it.
Well, I've had my Overworks glass for ages, so
I love it. I'm so jealous. Yeah, I've got 159 different breweries, so that's. I wish it told us the average Untappd user for all of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, my top one, unsurprisingly, was 64 different beers. Ooh. And that's with me not having checked in probably every single one of them, is Siren. Nice. And then my second most, which I'm really surprised at, is Tiny Rebel with 24 beers. I'm quite surprised because I don't feel like I remember trying that many. But then also we've gone to Wales and pick stuff up from them, and my sister-in-law's come to visit at points and brought beers from, because she lives in Newport, so it's like maybe that's what's happening, because I'm definitely not doing individual purchases of that many different beers. I think it was the 8th birthday that actually probably
because it was quite
set me over, because I got quite a lot, and I went to the tap takeover at Brew
we did
for that.
We went to the tap takeover.
And then my third one was Dea with 16 beers. I drank a
Good
lot
job.
of Daya, but that's also, again, because I went to Daya and I sampled.
Oh yeah,
I did a
there you
lot
go.
of sampling of a lot of stuff. So
And I think this is the thing. Like, I was just like, I don't think like last year, Brewdog was definitely at the top of my list because I went to a lot of Brewdog Brewdog
yeah,
bars, and I went to the AGM. So I tried a lot of Brewdog beers last year. But I'm really happy with those ones this year. I was very happy with that.
yeah,
So I have tried 124 different styles out of 215 possible styles. I'm
definitely
well
beat
happy
me.
with that. I'm well happy that I've tried 124 different styles. Like,
What's your favorite style of the year?
right, right. Sour fruited is my favorite one. I'm
Oh,
not
I'm
surprised.
surprised it wasn't Stout. I thought it was going to be
Um,
Stout.
yeah. So the last year, I think it was sour fruited as well, actually. So I'm consistent in
Yeah,
what's my
and if
favorite.
nothing else, is
Yeah,
consistency. I didn't look last year because, to be honest, I created this count probably like ages ago now,
yeah,
but I stopped really using it, and I only really started using it again at the beginning of this year because I was like, well, I forgot all about this app, and now I'm drinking way more than what I was doing before, so it's worthwhile me logging it.
yeah.
And I was buying more direct, so I was like, yeah, I need to keep track of what I've had and haven't had. So I didn't even look last year.
I think this is my third year with my Untappd stats. I love my Untappd stats. They're
Well, I'm
great.
going to definitely be checking from now on.
Yeah.
I've got 91 styles out of 215.
Oh, that's
And
good.
what would you guess my most?
Oh, I don't know. Is it something hoppy?
Yeah, something hoppy.
Is it Dipper?
No,
Oh,
my it seems like India Pale Ale is your favorite style of the year,
I'll just
but it's
type it in.
American, so it's IPA. Like, you can get IPA West
Yeah,
Coast,
yeah.
Nipper. Mine was American because I think it's probably, I've had so many of all different types
Yeah,
that it's just gone,
yeah,
you just like IPAs in general.
yeah. So I'm quite impressed with my venues as well,
Oh,
considering we've not been anywhere. I've added 10 unique venues this
oh,
year. My top one with 441 check-ins was Untapped at Home.
yay! Untapped
um,
at home.
but my second most checked in place is Pegasus Tap Room, which
I was
is
waiting for you
one
to
of our
say for
favorite.
2 years.
No, wait though.
You've not had that.
I've not been to their tap room, so but I that's our local one of our local craft bars in Canterbury, so I'm happy with that. And then the next one is the Untapped Virtual Festival Europe, where I had 10 check-ins.
Nice.
Yeah, but there's some things like there are some places I can't check into. Like
I
I
find
couldn't
I
check
find it
into
frustrating.
Clubfest, and
I
my
find it
yeah,
frustrating.
and so my top purchase places: Boutilia's Bottle and Tap with 30 check-ins, Pegasus Tap Room with 12, and Macnade's Fine Foods, which is one of our local farm shops, which has a really good selection of local craft beers, local beers in general. 11 check-ins, but that is because I can't check into other places that I've bought them, because when
Yeah.
you're doing it at home, you're too far away.
Well, that's it. And I think even then, when you search from, I think that's the fundamental flaw with so Untappd, for anybody that doesn't know, or I don't know, you lived under a rock or whatever. Basically, Untappd is the app. Like, there's
Yeah,
other apps, but this is the app global that you can use to check in your beer drinking and your ratings and all that, and where you've purchased it from. And the problem is, from my perspective, the fundamental flaw is it uses Foursquare. Now, Foursquare, in my opinion, is very old tech. And I
very.
don't think that it's very user friendly for this purpose. And if you want to add something, it's a faff. You have to go through like this massive process just to, it's not even massive, but it's just like, I can't be
It's
bothered.
tiresome. Yeah.
I just can't be bothered to do it. So I
Yeah.
just won't add where I've bought it from.
Yeah.
So they would do themselves a massive disservice if they want to access my data and
Yeah.
they want to know where I've purchased things from, to just do. I know it's harder than this because
Upgrade
I've been
it.
on a forum. I've
Yeah.
been on a forum where they've discussed this. And the problem is it's untying that element from the app. And
Yeah.
that's what's very difficult and very consuming to do. But they need to find a way to make that functionality better, because there's some stuff that it just doesn't exist because it's a very US centric. Foursquare is a very US centric app. Just doesn't work when you're in other parts of the world as well. So I just don't like it. I have 18 unique venue check-ins.
well done.
Yeah, I don't know how I got that. I've got 387 Untappd at home. Way.
Yay.
21 check-ins at Siren. And I've got to admit something. I've got one check-in at the Untappd Virtual Festival Europe. I didn't attend that.
Did you check into it?
I checked into it because it gave me the option and I was like, do I get a badge for that? Right. It's the only thing I've ever cheated on and I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it.
That's
but I was
funny.
like, oh, it's only going to happen once, isn't it? So might as well check in. And then my top purchased at, unsurprisingly, I've got Siren with 95 check-ins.
Yeah.
In regards to what you said about the Collab Fest, I've got 29 check-ins to Brewdog Reading and 23 check-ins to Brewdog Tower Hill. Now, I have been to Tower Hill and I have checked in some beers at Tower Hill, but I think the majority of these will have been for the Tower Hill ones anyways, will have been for Collab Fest.
Yeah, I didn't check them into Tower Hill because
I checked them in because they came from Tower Hill.
Come from Tower Hill, but I was just like, but I've not been to Tower Hill.
So I've been there, and so some of them are legitimate check-ins, and some of them are Collab Fest because of the fact that I was like, they've come from there. Whereas Brewdog Reading, I have been there, so those are probably all. Yeah,
I've not been to Tower Hill this year. I've not been to Tower Hill anyway. Yeah.
What's your badge count?
I didn't look. Let's go have a look. 657.
940.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you
badge queen?
How did you get so many badges? I mean, I've got
well, one of them was the Virtual Europe Festival.
I've got a total of 3,005 badges.
My total, you beat me on that. My total earned is 1,221. I just did a lot of badging this year.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Do you have drinking buddies? I've only got out of my top 3 drinking buddies, I've only got 2 people.
I don't. Yeah, I've only got one person because I don't really tag people in it. I feel like I should probably start doing it because I don't. That's my friend Louise.
I've got Helen and my husband.
Yeah.
That's it. Because we'll have like chats where we'll have a beer. We'll drink the same beer and then we'll tag each other in it.
I should start tagging us in when I check them in from the podcast, shouldn't I?
We should do.
Yeah.
I just never think to. No, the only reason I started doing it was because with my husband, it made it easier for us to tell which we've had and which we haven't between us. And with Helen, it was like she was tagging me and I was like, I never thought to do that.
Yeah,
so I'll do it as well. Yeah. Your overall check-ins, this is the last stat we have. Overall check-ins.
Where's that at the top?
It was the very first one for me.
The very first one. So mine's saying the same. So my overall check-ins are 586. Total.
584.
Oh,
very close. Very close. And that's obviously pre-me.
I don't think I've checked in every beer I've drunk. Like if I've had it before, I haven't checked it in. So
yeah, I've not checked in every single one.
And I've had a lot of repeats this year because where I've been teaching the classes, I've ended up having like things again that I've had before, and I just didn't check them in.
It's just when I remember to do it, and sometimes I just don't. Like last night. Dead to me. I didn't check any of those in. I've got to do that today.
I've got a list. Yeah, I've got to catch up. I'm a bit behind.
But it does say that the average Untappd users checked in 52 times in 2020. So
we're doing all right.
We're good.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
My first check-in of 2020, which is really funny to me because it wouldn't have been what I guessed, is Mango Milkshake IPA by Tiny Rebel.
Oh, so mine was Deeds Not Words by Mothership.
You beat me. Yours
and
is
I'm surprised. Well, I'm surprised that that's my first check-in because I definitely didn't have that on New Year's Day. But it says I checked it in on New Year's Day. I think I was doing a catch-up because I think I had that between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, and I think that one was my first one. Because I just didn't check in a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think I was sat there. I probably day off on New Year's Day. I'd catch up on my Untappd check-ins. That's the first one I checked in.
Right. Should we end this on a positive note? What is your favourite beer-related moment of 2020? So obviously we've said 2020 sucks. We don't like it. We're done with it. But it's had its glimmering moments. Yeah. So what was your favourite moment?
I think my favourite moment is starting this podcast.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yes, because I think we just have far too much fun on it.
It is way too fun, and that's why they end up being
Yeah.
so long, as we have so much fun. That gets diverted.
Not so fun trying to edit them, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But
I'll let you do that.
Yeah,
thanks.
thanks.
You've got that. Sorry. I'll write the outlines till the end of time. I'll promote it. I'll do whatever.
I'll do the editing.
I'll learn how to edit someday, I promise. I'll earn my keep.
It's fine.
I think sort of similar to that, I think my favorite beer related moment of 2020 was just joining the beer forums. And I say that because it's brought me so many great things. It brought me this podcast. It brought me meeting you and doing this, not only just doing this podcast, it's the fun we have before and after we're filming. And when, finding your women's pint club, which if we didn't go into lockdown, you never would have probably had that same online group, would you? Because it would all be meeting in person.
Yeah, because we had it there and it was for the people meeting in person. Then I was just like, do you know what? I'm going to open it up to other people because we can all get together. And if you are a woman beer drinker or someone that identifies as a woman and would like to join a beer group, search for Women's Pint Club on Facebook and come join us, because we had our Christmas party last night and it was epic.
Which is, I'm surprised we're still drinking today.
Yeah, I haven't got onto my cloud water. I'm still on the pumpkin because
because some people thought it would be a good idea to have a fourth beer.
It wasn't.
Which doesn't sound like it's that many beers.
Yeah.
But when you've been drinking beforehand, like before I even joined that call, I had half a bottle of mulled wine with and then I joined the call, and then I had more beers on another call, and then I came back to the call.
And I'd done a class on Imperial Stouts, so I drank 3 Imperial Stouts. And then I was like, I'll have a 4th beer.
And what we should say, this is not over a very long time frame either. It was not over like a massively long time frame. No. So we thought we almost left it, and then we both went, do you want a 4th one?
Yeah, we're still chatting. Let's go get another beer. Oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, so that's why we're a bit slow on the draw today. But I think we're still high energy. It's good. But I think just joining the beer forums, it's just brought me such a great community of people. And I think like even that Women's Pint Club, like it's great. You've got people that are close to you that you can go out and have a beer with. People around me and my friends, I mean, my husband drinks craft, but our friends don't necessarily. So for me, I don't have that same community offline, and the community I found online and the friends that I've made in this last year have just been so great. And it's led to so many great experiences, like the podcast, the beer mile. I'm having a secret Santa party tonight. I'm planning a Leeds pub crawl. I really want to go and do one of your meetups when we can do for Women's Pint Club. Like last night, I had so much fun meeting people I'd never spoken to before. And that's going to be the thing that I'm probably most grateful for 2020 for doing, is just all the new people in the beer community.
Oh, so on that positive note, that's it for 2020. From both myself and Tori, we wish you a safe and relaxing holiday season. And we hope to get a much better year in 2021. We appreciate all of you that have taken your time to listen to us, even if you decided it wasn't for you. We do this because we enjoy beer and we enjoy talking about beer, and we want to share that enjoyment with you. So if you want to tell us your beers of 2020, if you want to tell Tori your beers of 2020, where can they get hold of you?
So tell me your highlights, your lowlights, everything in between, and what you're looking forward to most in 2021 on Instagram at adventures_in_optimism. And where can they tell you, Jo?
So if you want to come talk to me, I have my beer account, which is A Woman's Brew, and that is on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Or you can find my beer school, Love Beer Learning. We have online beer school vouchers. We have a build your beer vocabulary course, and I have my beer membership where we talk about different beer styles every month. If you want to learn about beer, come and join us. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at Love Beer Learning. You can email us lovebeerlearning@gmail.com, or you can visit the website lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Come and learn about beer with me in the new year.
Yeah, I joined the beer tent.
Yay,
I officially joined the beer tent because after our last episode, I needed to know about the impies. So I need to know about the Russian Imperial Stouts and the normal impies and everything in between. So I joined the beer tent. I think with that, we get to do live tastings with you, don't we? And we get to learn with you live. So you can come and drink live with Joanne.
Yeah, come and drink with
and
me. Be a VIP member and come and drink
see
live.
Me tapping in the comments, asking questions and just being a nuisance. And you can come and join that fun. So
come and
join the beer tent. It's going to be fun,
guys. So that's us for 2020. Get in the bin. We are ready for 2021.
Join the beer tent.
Come and join the beer tent. Come and join us in 2021.
There's no dumpster fires in there.
Not yet, anyway. So on that note, cheers.
Cheers.